Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Imperial Diecast. Today I want to review a very special car for me, and that is the 1/24 scale Lamborghini Gallardo LP560-4 by Welly. And the reason why it's so special is because this is the model car that started it all. And by it all, I mean me collecting diecast model cars. It was in the fall of 2015 where one day, out of the blue, I just had the idea that since I already owned two 1/24 scale model cars at the time, which was the Lamborghini Murcielago Roadster and the Ferrari F355 Roadster, both of which I have reviewed, and I'm going to be posting a link to my reviews in the description. So out of the blue, I just had the idea that maybe on Amazon I could buy a Lamborghini Gallardo to add to my collection. Ever since my childhood, Lamborghinis have always been my favorite cars, and the Gallardo is one of the most iconic Lamborghinis out there. So I thought, maybe Amazon is selling them. So I opened up Amazon, typed in Lamborghini Gallardo in the search bar, and this was one of the first results that popped up. And so I bought it. And the next thing you know, I found the Ferrari 458, and I bought that as well. And then I found the Ferrari LaFerrari, figured that one was also looking pretty cool, bought that. And then the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren, and the rest is history. So that's essentially how I started collecting diecast model cars. Just to make something clear, Gallardo is actually pronounced Gallardo. And Gallardo is Spanish for dashing or gallant. Named after a famous breed of fighting bull, the Lamborghini Gallardo is a V10 supercar that was built by the Italian manufacturer from 2003 to 2013, before it was succeeded by the Huracan in 2014. Up until this car was made, Lamborghini only used to make their big V12 cars. But with the Gallardo, they introduced a stablemate alongside their flagship model, the Murcielago, and later the Aventador. This decision of theirs turned out to be a highly successful one, because if you combine all the variants of this car, the Gallardo became, and still is, the best-selling Lamborghini of all time, with over 14,000 units. Now, this particular Gallardo is the LP560-4, first presented in 2008 as a facelift, not just optical, but also performance-wise, of both the original Gallardo and its Superleggera variant, as it is now powered by a naturally aspirated 5.2-liter V10 engine with a direct fuel injection system. This is an engine that produces 552 horsepower and 8,000 RPM. Accompanied with a 20 kilogram weight reduction, all the improvements add up to a performance of 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.7 seconds, the quarter mile in 11.2 seconds, and a top speed of 325 kilometers per hour. LP stands for longitudinale posterior, indicating the mid-mounted V10 behind the driver, while 560 designates its European horsepower rating, or PS, that is to say, Pferdestärke. And the 4 after the dash indicates its four-wheel drive system. Visually speaking, the facelift brings with it new headlights and taillights, and a prominent quad exhaust protruding from the rear diffuser. At launch, the Msrp was just shy of $200,000 in the US. This model car can be had for $20,000. So let's take a closer look at the front of the vehicle. So with the facelift, you have the longer headlights replaced with these smaller ones. And they actually look pretty good. Let's take a closer look at these headlights. I mean, check out that level of detail right there. There are no pegs, and you can see the individual DRLs modeled on the headlight, as well as the main bi-xenon bulb kept in silver. I mean, for a 124, this is insane. In the middle we have the Lamborghini logo. You got the golden raging bull on the black background. And here's a look at the other headlight. Pretty detailed. Now moving down here, you can see that the air vents on the front of the car are covered with a black plastic that has a hexagonally shaped texture to imitate grille. Moving further up, we have these pretty detailed windshield wipers. Of course, they can't be moved, but I'm pretty happy the way they did it. Now let's get the trunk open. Not much to see in here, although I like the depth of this little trunk space here. You can see that they have detailed just a little bit what looks or what appears to be a bag. And up here we actually even have a little bit of a, I think, a script or something. It's a little hard to tell. Maybe a few buttons, I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, nothing too special. Even though it's not their flagship model, the Gallardo still has a very sleek shape unique to Lamborghinis. White is the only color that Welly makes the LP560-4 in. Now let's check out the rims. So these rims are kept in silver and they look pretty cool. You can even see the amount of detail Welly put here into including the hole for the tire pressure. You have the Lamborghini crest in the middle and surrounded by 5 lug nuts. But it gets even better than that. Check out the back of the rim. You can see that on this 1/24 scale model, not only do we have a brake caliper, and not only does it have the Lamborghini branding, but we also have a brake disc, and the brake disc moves while the caliper stays stationary, as it should. We got a fender vent up here. Indicator, it's just painted though. Slightly noticeable panel gap, but this car is in white, so everything black just stands out that much more. Now let's move along. Down here you can see that it says LP560-4, although the print is pretty small. We have another side vent here. And as you can see, this air intake also has a nice texture. So that's pretty neat. And up here we have another air vent, and even that air vent has a little bit of a texture inside. Now this may, quote-unquote, only be a 1/24 scale model, but still, look at the fact that Welly has actually not put 1, but 2 brake calipers on the rear wheels. I assume one of them is for the reverse. So that is awesome. So here we are at the back of the car, and the first thing that you will notice is that the taillights actually have a nice texture to them, just like on the real car. Each taillight unfortunately has 2 pegs, but that doesn't really bother me since they're located at the corners and not exactly at the middle. You can see that the car has quad exhausts, right there. It says Gallardo on the rear license plate. And up here we have the Lamborghini logo. And on top of that, we have a brake light. Unfortunately, it's just painted. But on top of that, we even have the rear backup camera. Got a little spoiler at the back as well, as you can see right here. Now, another interesting thing to notice about the exhausts is that they're not only chrome-tipped, but the center part is also kept in black. This was not me doing this with a black marker. This was exactly how they looked like when I bought the car. So, props to Welly for doing this. Because some other companies like Burago just make the entire exhaust out of chrome, and that looks unrealistic. And underneath the Gallardo rear license plate, there's actually another painted brake light. The rear grille, by the way, has this honeycomb texture, so it's pretty interesting. Now let's move on further up. Now here we come to the part of the car that I don't really like, because this part can't be opened. Instead, for some reason, Welly decided to make the other opening part apart from the doors the front trunk, or frunk, which I'm not really interested in because there's not much to see in there. I would have preferred it if they had made the rear engine cover open, but they didn't. If it's really important to you that the rear engine cover opens, then you should get the one by Maisto, or you should get the 1/18 scale one by Welly. Now, even though the rear engine cover cannot open, we can still take a look at the engine because of the transparent cover. Not much to see, though. So here's the engine with the flash. You can see that Welly did go the extra mile and write Lamborghini on the engine blocks themselves. But they are covered by this black sun strip, I guess you can call it. I guess they did this because it looks like that on the real car as well. Which means you can't read the lettering by looking at it straight from the top. But if you look at it from this angle, you can see the lettering. You got some basic amount of detail here, but nothing to write home about, though. Now let's get these doors open and check out the interior of the car, shall we? These doors are a little hard to get open, and keep in mind that the traditional Lamborghini scissor doors are reserved for the flagship models. Before we move into the interior, just wanted to show you guys the gas cap over here. And not only that, but you can see that Welly went the extra mile and even included dorsal branding for this 124 scale car. It says Gallardo. Now let's check out the door. Not much to see, but you can see a basic texturing. And now let's check out the interior. So here we are at the passenger side. The first thing you'll notice is that you have the silver Lamborghini logo on the dash. The seats have a texture to them, which is good. And check out that center console. I mean, wow. This is just a 124 scale. This is not 118. And still, they have pretty much imitated exactly what you'll find on the 118 scale version of this car. Every single button on the center console has been replicated. You even got the LCD screen and the air vents on top of that. These air vents also have a silver trim, which you can see right here. So that's pretty awesome. And you got some more texture up here as well. But it gets even better. You got your e-brake over here. And you've got red seatbelt push buttons. Now let's check out the driver's side. You can see the steering wheel. It's a 3-spoke flat bottom one, which has the Lamborghini logo in the middle, and that logo is surrounded by a circular silver trim as well. But even more impressive than that is the instrument cluster at the back. I mean, check it out. It has like a depth to it, which is amazing. Here's a look at the driver's side with the flash on. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to show you guys what's on the instrument panel right there. You can see that they have even put the stickers on the rev meter and on the speedometer, which is amazing. But not only that, check out the left and the right of those dials, and you'll see 2 more dials, the fuel gauge and the engine temperature. That's pretty cool. Down there we have the floor pedals, painted in silver. And over here we have seat controls as well. They aren't painted, but they're indicated. And check this out. The Lamborghini crest on the headrests of the seats as well. Isn't that amazing? And behind that we have a texture to indicate the net on the real car, where you can like put a few things in. Oh yeah, and another thing I wanted to make you guys aware of on the passenger side, at least from here you can get a good look at it, is that Welly even included the 3 dials on the top of the center console, which show you the oil pressure, the oil temperature, and the voltometer. I mean, that's insane. This is not a 118 scale car, and they've still managed to put all of that into this cockpit. So that's pretty amazing. And down there you can see the aluminum plate that houses the different driving modes, such as Sport or Corsa. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the back from up here, you can see that they even included the cup holder. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's pretty much at the very back over there. Let's see if I can get a better picture here. Like right back there. Check it out. Amazing detail, huh? And of course the steering wheel corresponds to the steering, as it should. So that's pretty cool as well. Since this is one of the most iconic supercars out there, other diecast manufacturers have also made it. Maisto is one. The main difference on the Pro side is that it has red seats with a diamond stitching pattern, and the back opens instead of the front. But on the con side, its detail level is slightly less than this Welly. It doesn't have brake calipers, or even brake discs, and its headlights look far worse. Welly has also made this model in 1/18 scale. Check out JMC Porsche's review for that one in more detail. The only difference to this 124 one, as far as I can tell at least, is that the 118 one by Welly has semi-raised door window panels. And of course, an opening rear engine cover. That's literally it though. I mean, here's a comparison between the two scales from the car model website. And as you can see, I'm switching the pictures between the 124 and the 118 rapidly to show you how similar the detail level in both scales is. And it just shows how much detail Welly puts into their 124 scale, so that collectors of this scale don't feel left out compared to those who collect 118. But for my 118 collector viewers, you can get the 118 version of this car for 30-something euros off CK model cars, for example. Definitely one of the must-have 118s because of how inexpensive it is. But even when it comes to 124 scale, this car is right up there when it comes to the detail level, and is absolutely worth getting. Now, before we conclude this review, I wanted to show you guys really quickly the under tray of this car. And as you can see, it says Welly, Lamborghini Gallardo LP560-4, scale 124. And if we look at the car's under tray, I mean, it's got a pretty decent amount of detail here. You see a lot of riveting, for example. You can see the limited slip differential here. A little part of the engine poking through. And of course the tires have a nice texture to them. So overall, this car is definitely worth getting. This is Imperial Diecast, signing out.